Shout out our sponsor, Clearview Window, the best home service company in the 805. You can follow their Instagram at @clearview.homeservice. They currently do service including window cleaning and gutter cleaning, but are expanding their service to cover any home service needs. Clearview will do it all. Go check out their social media and give them a follow if you're a real Talking with Taco fan.
Yo, this is Talking with Taco. I'm your host, Taco, and I'm joined here with Eli. Unfortunately, Order couldn't join us, but I guess it's going to have to do. And today we're joined here with a very special guest.
Today we got Coach Sutherland. He's the offensive coordinator and offensive line coach at Cal Lutheran. He played football at UCLA, and he played briefly in the NFL with the Raiders. Coach?
Hey guys, I'm really excited to be here. This is a really, I've been looking forward to this for a while. I've been really waiting on the invite, so I'm excited that we finally found a chance to do this.
Coach, you're the first NFL player on the podcast.
I'm an NFL practicer, to be clear.
You're a player.
You were in the league.
You're in the league, Coach.
Well, the first of many. The first of many. You guys are going to take this thing far.
Yeah, we're going to take this.
I'm sure. You call across the street. Maybe
one day,
Shimmy's
going to be calling us to get on this, Coach.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what the level we want to get to.
Yeah, I hear you.
Shimmy's already been on it.
I know, but he's gonna
he's going
to want to come back. Yeah, that's the goal we're going to talk about. All right, Coach, you played with the Raiders.
Yeah.
How was that? How was
it was very humbling because I realized I was not as good as I thought. So it was great. It was a cool experience. I went up there and, like I said, I did some of the mini camps and things over the summer. And it was a fun experience. I grew up a Raiders fan too, so that was kind of cool. But really, it was humbling, like I said, because you get up there and everybody's good. Right, like it's just like it's like the jump from high school to college, but times a million, right? Because you go from high school and you go to college, and everybody was a good player in high school. That's why they're playing college. And when you go from college to the NFL, everybody's like all conference. These are like the best of the best of the best, and so there's no like, oh, thank God I get this like freshman guy that I know I can take it easy and I get to play off. Like there's no plays off. Everybody's great. So, but it was very cool.
Did you ever just get like obliterated or any like?
I can't remember his name now. There was a DN that was a draft. He got drafted by them. He's in the 5th round. I remember he's from the University of Buffalo. I don't remember his name. I don't even know if he even made the team or did much in the NFL. I just remember we were doing one-on-one pass rush, and I was doing some guard and some tackle, but this rep was at tackle, and I get out of my stance and he ran by me so fast. Like, I barely blinked my eyes, and he was by me before I could touch him, and I was just like, damn, this might not be for me.
What was getting cut like? Like, how did that process work? Like,
they just pull you in. For me, it was in between. It wasn't like you see on Hard Knocks, where it's like this big production, and they walk down the hall and bring your playbook. Because for me, it was in between like camps, because over the off season, back then they called them mini camps, now they call them OTAs, but you had like different little 3-day mini camps and stuff. So for me, it happened in between that. They called me and told me I was cut, like the assistant GM.
Did you ever try to like go to another team?
I did a couple tryouts, a couple workouts and things like that with a couple other teams, and then I stayed in shape for a while, even into the next season, and then I just kind of decided it was time to move on and get a job and all that stuff.
Was there like big personalities when you were there or anything?
I mean, yeah, the biggest personality when I was there, the head coach was Lane Kiffin, so he was he was a big personality. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think he would know who I am, but he was the head coach while I was there. And then the O-line coach was a guy named Tom Cable, who's he was my college coach as well, one of my college coaches, and so he's also a big personality. He's a really great coach and a fun guy, but he's a big personality.
Was UCLA have much big personalities?
Yeah.
Like, was that more like, was there people more like chaotic because they're younger in college at UCLA versus?
I think it's probably like every team, right? Like it's 100 and something guys, so there's big personalities, and then there's quieter guys, and then there's everything in between. Yeah. So I don't know. It's also one of those things I can only speak to my experience. Like there was certainly plenty of big personalities, but I don't know if it was because they were young or not. I mean, I was young and
were you a big personality in college, Coach?
I don't know if I'd call myself a big personality.
You got the hair.
I was an O-lineman.
Coach Knox said you used to let him in to like you were a bouncer.
Yeah, one of my jobs I had was I was a bouncer at like frat parties and things like that.
And you used to like Coach Knoxon?
Yeah, I mean, I let a lot of the football players in. I just would tell them, don't be an idiot. And if you screw up, I got to kick you out. That's still my job. And they would go and do whatever they did, and I'd pretend I didn't see them.
How was your experience playing at UCLA? Did you enjoy the experience? Was it fun, or was it more like working in like a job?
No, I mean, I loved it. I think that's actually something I should have touched on before with the NFL thing. I think the big crazy thing when you do the NFL stuff is how much it is a job. Whereas in college, it's like, these are my buddies, we live together. There's a lot more of that type of camaraderie. Whereas once you go to the next level, it's a job and everybody's trying to make money and pay bills and things like that. But in UCLA, it was a great experience. I came in as a D lineman, so I got a chance to do that, and then switched over to O-line, so I played on both sides of the ball, and made my best friends that I've ever had in my life, and they're still my best friends, and I see them all the time, and I still go. Yeah, I have nothing but amazing things to say about it. I wish we won a few more games, but I think everybody would say that. Right?
Did you beat USC?
We beat USC once. They were very good at that point. We beat them once in 2006. We beat them 13-9.
There you go, Coach.
High scoring affair.
What was your recruiting process like? And why did you choose UCLA?
Wait, didn't you run track in high school too?
I did, but I wasn't good enough to get recruited for that.
But didn't you said you ran like 4.6?
I ran a 4.640 in high school. Yeah,
that's crazy.
But I ran track. That was mostly for fun. I played baseball growing up, and then as you get older in baseball, they want you to spend more and more time with it. And so when I got to my sophomore year of high school, the baseball coaches kind of wanted you to be around for fall and things, and I wasn't going to not play football. And then in the winter, I wasn't going to not play basketball, and so I just started doing track because I wanted something to do in the spring. But there was another question. What did you ask me?
Your recruiting process. And
recruiting process.
Why did you choose UCLA?
So the recruiting process was for UCLA specifically. How did I get recruited there?
Or just your recruiting process altogether?
So when I was playing in high school, I kind of didn't think much about the college stuff until I started getting letters and things from colleges. So back then there was no Twitter or anything. So the way it worked was they'd send you. So you know how now coaches will send you a link and you fill out a questionnaire? Back then you got a physical piece of paper in the mail questionnaire. So that was kind of the way it started, is schools that were interested would send you questionnaires. Usually you'd get them at school because they wouldn't have your address yet. So they'd send it to your high school. So the first interaction. And so you do that, and that was kind of the start of it. That was started around my end of my sophomore year, beginning of my, somewhere around the sophomore, junior year maybe. It must have been spring of sophomore year. And so that was when I started being maybe I could do this football thing in college. And so I started looking into different places and interacting with coaches. And then back then it was big. You still go to camps and stuff now, but back then it was less of the one-day camps and more camps would be 2 or 3 days long, and it was kind of rare to just go to one day. So you go to football camps and do that, and you go to your team camp. Every high school team would go and do kind of a 5-day camp at colleges. So anyway, you're starting to see different places, and so when I got to actually having to start to decide, there was a few places that I liked, but I knew that I wanted to go. I grew up in Virginia, and I knew that I wanted to go kind of somewhere farther away. I wanted to see something different and experience something different. And I was trying to choose between UCLA and a few other places. And
what were the few other places?
I really liked Penn State. I really liked Maryland. I was really interested in, and
Kalu.
Say it again.
Kalu,
of course. Stanford. I was interested in Stanford too, so another West Coast school. But I didn't know. I was nervous about the West Coast because it's so far from home. And then I kind of got over it when I realized, a 5-hour flight or whatever, 6-hour flight's not really all that different than a 6 or 7 or 8 hour drive. Or it's not like State College, Pennsylvania is all that close to Norfolk, Virginia or anything. So it wasn't that big a deal. And so UCLA, I took a trip and I loved it, and I really thought it just made sense to me. I really liked the coaching staff. I really liked the location, and yeah, that's how I decided. It made sense. And believe it or not, part of it was that they were recruiting me as a defensive lineman, and I didn't want to play O-line.
How long did it take you to play O-line?
After my redshirt freshman year, so I redshirted, and then as a redshirt freshman, I was at 3 technique, like a defensive tackle, and then I switched to O-line in the spring. But I was like, I'm a D lineman. That's what I want to do. And so, like, I remember, gosh, I guess I can't remember what the exact school it was now, but there was a school I remember that called me, and this is the kind of idiot, I guess, dick I was then. Some school calls me and they're like, man, we really love you and think you could be an all-conference offensive tackle. We really want to recruit you that. And I go, Coach, I'm not going to be playing any offensive line in college. I really appreciate your interest, but I'm gonna have to decline. And that was me. So it's funny how things change. So.
Were you forced to play line?
Not forced. It was just they kind of talked me into it.
The freshman 15.
Yeah. Well, they just when I came in, I was getting bigger and stronger, and then where I was at as a D lineman, I was like a depth guy, a rotation. Like I played in games, but I was a backup, and it was kind of not gonna go anywhere. And they were like, "Well, let's just try O-line for the spring, and if you like it, you can stay, and if you don't, it's okay." And so that's how it started. They were like, "Let's just." They were smart about it. They didn't just force me. They were like, let's just give it a chance. Maybe try it out. You can do a little bit and see how you like it. And then I liked it, and it started to, I started to get better and kind of saw that there was a little more opportunity there to do more. So that was a big part of it. It was difficult. In high school, I played O-line as well, but we ran like a wing tee, so I had never passed that before college. So that was fun to learn that.
But did you start after the spring?
No, so I was a backup at the start of my redshirt sophomore year, but I started the last 3 games, and then I started from then until my senior year. I started like half the games. I was in the lineup, kind of banged up and stuff, but I started pretty much from then in my redshirt sophomore year.
To the end of your senior year?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. It's a lot of football, Coach, a lot of snaps.
Yeah, a lot of snaps.
Do you have any, like, crazy stories from playing at UCLA?
Like in what sense?
Like any like on the field, like, oh my god, like we're playing USC, like this is crazy, or like off the field, like just something stupid or insane happened, or like anything in the locker room?
Well, I would never tell locker room stories. I would tell you guys to do the same, right? That's a sacred spot, right? But on the field, I mean, when we beat USC that year, they were ranked number 1 in the country.
Oh wow!
And we played them at the Rose Bowl, and so that's sold out. And back then, they would, they didn't close off the sections and stuff. So that was 90-something thousand people. So it was big and loud and crazy. And they had a lot of good players. Like pretty much their whole defense played in the NFL. And so that was insane. Just that whole process. We hadn't beat them in 6 or 7 years. It had been a really long time since UCLA had beaten USC. So it was a huge deal. And so that the game itself was crazy. The aftermath of the game was crazy. That night was crazy. The whole, Westwood is like losing its mind and people are everywhere. That was pretty cool. That was a big deal. It's still like, there's still UCLA fans who, it's like 13-9 is like a thing. And then our quarterback from them, his name's Pat Cowan. And he's a really good friend of mine, but he's still like well known amongst UCLA like alums and stuff for that, because he was the quarterback of the team when we beat USC that year. So he's very notoriously, they know him. So
yeah,
it's cool.
No, beating the number 1 team in the country must be, your rival is crazy. Like that must be a crazy like.
It was a lot of fun to knock them out of the national championship game.
Yeah.
If you can't play in the national championship, I'd say that knocking someone out of it is the next best thing.
All right, so we talked about recruiting a little bit too, like your recruiting process. How is it the flip side, like recruiting as a coach?
I enjoy the recruiting process, actually. I think a lot of coaches don't, but I enjoy it. It's fun to kind of get to know people and their families and things like that. The hard part about it is just like hitting the road, like during the spring, for example. May's a big month for it, right? And in May, I'm just driving all over Southern California, and I got to drive out to the IE and drive down to Temecula and it's just a lot of like miles on the road. Yeah, it's just far. It's just a lot of driving. It's not, dude, at the end of the day, there's way worse, way harder jobs out there than like, I had to drive to Temecula. But that part's hard, but I enjoy the process of it. I like getting to know guys, and I like getting to find those guys that are good fits. And
did you recruit Taco Orta? Because you recruited me.
Yeah, I recruited Taco.
How was recruiting Taco?
It was cool. So actually, Taco, we recruited him kind of late because I think your coach reached out first, right?
I think.
Or was it? What's
I
that?
don't know.
I think your coach reached out and said, "Hey, we got a couple guys that might be interested." And I said, "All right, cool." And I hadn't been up to, so now I recruit up there pretty heavily, but I hadn't recruited up in like the slow area before. And so anyway, your coach reached out, and then we started the process. And we originally were gonna, we had you and JB and
It was Jaden.
Jaden, yeah. And Jaden, all three of you guys were supposed to come through, but Taco's the one that stuck, thankfully.
The big Hawaiian kid.
Yeah.
Do you remember meeting Taco or having a first impression with him?
I mean, I remember meeting him. I don't. The first impression was he was quiet. He didn't really say much. So I don't know. I mean, when you guys came, your coach did most of the talking. Jaden was kind of the most talkative of like the players. Like he was definitely he was like a tall like tackle kid, like an O-line kid,
yeah.
And he was the most talkative of the players. But I just remember Taco was quiet.
Do you remember recruiting?
That's changed.
Do you remember recruiting me, Coach? Do you
Of course, I remember recruiting you.
Do you remember what like stands out about?
Well, first of all, I was excited because, as we've talked about before, I played with a guy that went to Nordhoff, and so I was like, "Oh my god, I get to freaking!" He's the only person I'd ever known who went to Nordhoff, and so I remember just being like, "Oh my god, Nordhoff High!" Like I haven't heard about Nordhoff High in that would have been 15 years. So I was very excited about that. Yeah. That was cool. And then I was excited to recruit. Yeah, I like recruiting big running backs, right? So I was always excited about that. And then for you, it was just like a good, easy process. Like I thought both of you guys were actually really enjoyable to recruit. It's like you ask about recruiting, and I think the key is the hard part in recruiting will be kids who kind of like, especially at a Division III level, there's certain guys who just will be like, I'm not doing it. And I always respect guys who say, like, I don't want to do it. But there's a lot of guys who you recruit and they go, yeah, sure, I think. And then they just kind of like, I guess ghost you is the right way to talk about it, right? And so you guys were always a pleasure because it was not hard to stay in and get into contact. And you guys' interest was there. And, you guys were good kids to recruit. So that was fun because it wasn't like I didn't feel like I had to like sort of like talk you into it. It was never like, come on, man, it's great, you should check it out. Which is part of the job sometimes, is being like, no, seriously, it's really cool. Come on, tell them no.
Do you remember like, is there a crew we have that was like difficult? Like, do you remember anyone that was like stands out to you? Like, oh my god, this kid, like he was hard.
Hard to recruit?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think everybody, there's different, I don't know that there's anybody that stands out as like a particularly hard to recruit. I think it's more so.
Did you recruit Jaden Klein?
I did not recruit Jaden Klein. Jaden was here already when I got.
Oh, okay.
He came in that, I think him and like Thorne and all those guys are in the same class, right? So they came in like during COVID.
Okay.
Like their freshman year was that like weird
COVID year,
sort of in school, sort of not. I'm hot, so I'm going to take my sweatshirt off. But yeah, I did not recruit Jaden Klein.
Where were you? You were at NAU before that, right?
I was at NAU before that. So I was at NAU I started my career here. So I got into coaching kind of late. And then I started my career here. And then I went to NAU for a couple of years. And so I was there during that time. Mostly recruiting out in Arizona, but I still recruited California and all that too. So yeah, NAU was cool.
You have like no crazy recruiting stories? Because I've heard like crazy stories of people like families and kids and like what things like people will say to coaches.
I mean, people will say wild stuff. Like I think the biggest thing will be when you're recruiting someone and the first thing they want to talk about is like an NFL pro day or like something like that, where it's like, let's just talk about like the majors we offer and like things like that.
People say that to you?
Yeah.
They'll ask about pro days?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Or like talk about like, well, how is he going to be developed? Usually it's the dad too. Like it's always the dad. How is he going to be developed to be to have the best shot to be a professional player? I'll be like, well, let's just get in school and.
Are they ever like close, or is it mostly kids that you like? Yeah, this kid's not.
It's not. To me, it's not even about that. Although I think that like the chances of making the NFL are so small. I'm always just like the idea that we're even talking about this when you're like 17 is like wild to me. It's like let's just that's so far down the road. And my view on that is that kind of stuff like takes care of itself. If you're good enough and you have that ability, one, you will dominate, and two, the NFL will find you. Yeah. So we don't need to talk about it. If they want you to do a pro day, if they want to watch you run a 40, they tell us.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like we call up the NFL and we go, hey guys, we're gonna have our seniors run 40s. It's not how it works. Like, they say, hey, we know that one kid, we want to see him run a 40.
Yeah.
So let's have a pro day. We want to see him lift. We want to see him work out. So
Yeah, that's crazy. That's pretty funny to think about, like, people asking you about the NFL when they're like 17. Especially here.
Generally speaking, too, I'll have to say it's not usually the player.
It's like
a lot of times it's like the dad or an uncle, or it's like a family member.
Yeah,
usually
that must be like the hardest part about it too, because like coaches or like parents are like very biased.
Yeah.
So they see their kid as like in this highlight, because like you don't take every kid too.
No.
So you have to like say no to kids, and then.
Yeah, that's not fun, right? Like that part's tough too. But yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna see their kid. It's funny because my dad is not like that, but most people are going to see their kids as like the best.
Yeah.
My dad's very critical. It's the opposite. He's like, everything I did was more, you know, which is a different way to do it. But everybody sees their kid as their own, you know, as the greatest thing ever, right? So it is hard sometimes. It's like, well, let's just relax, you know. So it's tough. Not that I'm perfect, right? I mean, I'm sure I miss on stuff too. So.
All right, Coach. We ask this question a lot.
Okay.
On here, we ask like most people.
Okay.
And we have like two like pretty notorious questions. It's the island question and it's a daughter question.
Okay.
So the daughter question is, if you had a daughter between me, Orta, and Taco, who would you want to date your daughter? Like, who would be first, and who would be like?
I have to rank.
You have to rank you guys like 1, 2, 3.
Rank you guys. Okay. It seems unfair. Well, first of all you guys, I would be okay with you dating my daughter. I'd have to say that first.
That'd be a very weird dynamic.
Yeah.
It'd be a weird dynamic, but I'd be okay. You guys are respectful young men, and
I don't think I'd be okay with it.
You wouldn't be. So you'd say no.
I would say no. I don't think I'd be okay with it.
That's, I think, would be the hard part. Is not the daughter thing so much as it just.
Could you imagine
why is like Taco on my couch right now?
Could you imagine like screaming at Taco after practice, like, oh, like he messed up on like some pass pro or made like some mental mistake, and then. Like,
see, I assume when we're talking about this is like down the road.
I mean,
like right now.
Yeah, like right now.
Yeah, like right now.
Yeah, if you had like a 19-year-old daughter,
that would be strange. But I don't know if I'd rank it. I guess Orta would be 3, but only because I don't directly coach him, right? So I know Orta and I have a good relationship with him, but I don't like know him as well as I know you two. And then, guys, you guys are both just like staring at me. I gotta go you two, Eli 2, and Taco 1. That's the O-line pride, baby.
What about if we were stranded on an island? Who would you be your 1, 2, 3?
Of you guys?
Yeah.
Taco's 1. He swims and all that shit. Taco's 1 for sure. Yeah. Sorry. Then you and Orta, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to see your resume, I guess.
Survival skills. What about anyone on the team? Like, is there anyone on the team you're like, I would love for this guy to date my daughter? Or not love for this guy to date my daughter. It's a bad way of putting it. Or like this would be like, oh, like this is someone I want to date my daughter, or like someone that like this is someone I definitely would not want around my daughter.
There's certainly guys I would not want to, but I'm not going to say them, the names. But there's certainly guys, right? And that's not to say that we have like, not because they're bad guys, but because I would feel like they'd be bad influences because I know they like to have a good time. Let's put it that way. And so, not that there's anything wrong with having a good time. I enjoy a good time every now and then too. But other guys that I'd say, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of guys that I'd be okay with. We got a pretty good group of guys.
Is there one person that comes to mind, or like 1 or 2?
That's not something, I'm not going to lie, that's not something I've ever really thought about. So, I don't know that.
What about the island? Is there anyone like I would not want to be stuck on an island with?
Not be stuck on an island with.
Or a coach.
Not stuck on an island.
Like, I'd rather be by myself.
I'm trying to think if there's anybody not. The negative one's hard because I don't know, like, I not be stuck on an island.
Who would you be stuck on an island with?
Well, I would love to be stuck on an island with Coach Hogg because they'd search for him.
Yeah.
Like, if Coach Hogg went missing, they'd find him. And so he'd be my probably number 1, like, with a bullet. Like, he'd be the one because I know we're getting home. Coach Hogg probably knows someone with a plane that could pick us up or something, so I'm good on that. I think Coach Hogg would be number 1.
Shimmy. You don't want to be stuck on that shimmy.
Yeah, we'd get on each other's nerves, I think. Plus, like, I don't know that Shimmy has, like, survival skills. Like, he grew up in Simi Valley, and
I think Shimmy would give up.
I don't know that he'd give up. I just don't know if he, like, knows how to do anything, you know? Like,
He'd get very
I feel like if
frustrated.
I was like, Shimmy, like, chop down this tree, he'd be like, what do I do? How do I use this axe? I guess we have an axe on this island, but, you know. So Shimmy maybe would be a tough one, you know. I feel like, you know, Lugo would be a pretty good one to have because Lugo's not going to give up. Like, he's definitely, if anything, I'd be the one who'd be like, you know what, we're stuck. It's not going to happen. Like, I would give up before him for sure. So he'd be a good one to have with me.
That's the first time we got Lugo.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I just know he, like, will not.
A lot of people pick Di Fiore.
See, I was gonna say not because Di Fiore is a bad guy or I think he wouldn't try or anything, but he's got like really bad knees and like a pretty bad back. Like I don't know if he would be able to just like how much help he would be, you know, with his knees and stuff. Like I'd be a little worried. Not that my body, like my knees are in the greatest shape, but that's the thing with him. Like Corey, like Coach Miner would be a good one to have.
Yeah, Coach Miner would be a really good one.
Yeah, although he would be so positive, that would be something where I'd be like, all right. I'm not. I would probably again be the one who'd be like, "This is enough. I need to stop." But he'd be like, "We got it." He'd be a good one. Yeah. And Coach D would be a good one to have. I don't mean to say that he wouldn't, but if I'm ranking, I'd probably rank like younger, more like able-bodied people. Not that he's not able-bodied, but I can't see him being able to like lift heavy things.
When we first started this, we asked. We were just talking about it like on the first one me and Taco Art ever did. And we're talking about like people who would and wouldn't make it off the island, and we're like, oh, Coach Brent, and Taco was like, hell no, like immediately, and then Coach Brent like heard it and he like messaged us, and then he came on the podcast and it was like a very like not like intense conversation. It was like more like a funny conversation, but yeah, Taco was like very like hell bent on like how he thought Brent wouldn't make it off the island.
Why wouldn't he make it off the island?
I don't know. I didn't really know him. Like he was just my strength coach. I didn't. Really
Do you think he'd make it? Have you changed your mind? Did he convince you?
He's definitely moved up the list. He's definitely
Where am I at on the list?
You're pretty high.
Pretty high?
Yeah,
I'll take it. Who's the first for you guys?
For like coaches?
Yeah. Who's first? Who's number one?
Coach Culpepper would be fun to be stuck on an island with. that'd be like really entertaining.
Yeah, I guess there's two different ways to look at it, right?
Yeah, Culpepper would be
who's helpful, or who would I want to be around that whole time?
Shimmy and me would be like,
yeah,
like I don't know how that would work out. I feel like I'd get on his nerves, and we wouldn't live very long. Culpepper I feel like would be funny, and I feel like he'd be helpful.
Sure,
he'd have like buzzwords and
buzzword it.
Yeah.
He would definitely create buzzwords for like gathering water,
gathering like
fishing and stuff.
materials.
Yeah.
I don't know who like I wouldn't want to have on the island. I think Brent would be good too.
Yeah,
Brent would be good.
He'd be fine. He's tall.
Yeah, he's tall. He's strong. Young.
He's young. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Young's good sometimes. Right.
Yeah, sometimes it's good.
Yeah. I don't know. What about on the team? Who's your guys? Who do you got?
Coming on the islands.
Let me ask you guys.
Probably Gavin Rowe.
Gavin would be great.
Really?
Yeah, because
Coach, he benches like 500 pounds.
Really?
Yes. Have you ever seen him work out?
Yeah. I mean, I guess I've seen him work. I didn't realize he benched that much.
Yeah, he's pretty strong, Coach.
Gavin Rowe.
No.
Other Gavin.
Rowe.
Yeah.
He was a Boy Scout.
Sorry, I was talking to the center
You're
Gavin.
talking about Kiros.
Yeah, I was talking about
I was
Kiros.
like, Gavin Rowe benches 500.
Yeah, he was a Boy Scout.
Boy Scouts are good. Yeah, that's good.
I feel like JP would be very positive.
Sure. This is my thought though. Is there's some people I like again not.
Yeah, I couldn't do.
I don't know if I want too much positivity.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
Like we're stuck.
I want them like to accept like
we're stuck on an island. Let me be upset. I'm allowed to be upset. Stuck on an island, you know.
I feel like DT wouldn't be. I feel like DT would be very like I feel like I'm getting off with Dylan.
Maybe.
Like I feel like Dylan like he's gonna like.
I think with someone like Dylan, and I love Dylan, it would go one of two ways. It'd be you're getting off, or you'd be like so annoyed, like he'd be too much.
I feel like I'd get
Dylan's
on
a lot.
I feel like I'd get on him. I'd get on his nerve more than he get.
Probably
on
because you wouldn't like be super gung ho and everything.
Yeah, I would be
Just
too
like
positive.
Let's go do this right now.
Yeah, but I feel like we would be okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Ordo would be a good one too.
Yeah, Ordo would be good.
Ordo would be good. Klein would be good.
Like probably I'm assuming like Jackson White would be
Yeah.
good.
I
I'm
don't-
assuming he's like good at stuff. I don't know. He's like one of those.
I don't think
one of
Dom
those
would do
guys.
great.
Tom would need like a lot of sunscreen.
Yeah, Don would be pretty high maintenance. I don't know if Dante would be very good.
Dante might be okay.
Yeah, I just feel like Dante would be like kind of accept it. He's like, we're not getting off salad, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like Dante would just like accept like quickly. Like,
I mean, how nice is the island? I guess now it's like, well,
yeah, that's true.
maybe it's not that bad.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Coach, I have a question for you. I just thought of one. All right, so if me and Taco had to switch positions,
Yeah,
would I be a better guard or would Taco be a better running back?
that's a good question. You know, I have experience. I don't know if you guys don't know Rudy, but I have experience turning a running back into a
Yeah,
tackle.
I heard it.
Wait,
I heard it wasn't good.
Wait, so did wait, I've heard stories about this guy because wasn't he like just a huge running back? You guys
He was a
him?
huge running back, yeah. And his
Like,
high
how big is
school-
huge?
In high school, he was probably 240.
Was a running
245.
back?
But he played like he was like a fullback in like a wing tee, like the hand on. But he ran the ball. He was a really good runner. Like his high school highlights were good. Like he's a good player. He's just big. And then, but when he got here, I think he had gained some weight, and so not like that. I don't mean that. But he had gained some weight, and so then it was like, all right, I think this is the position for you. And he hated it the first year, like hated it. But he stuck with it, and then he was our starting left tackle for I don't know his senior year, and then played a lot as a junior. I came back. I had him. He was a senior my first year back here. So what would that have been? Whatever the season right after COVID, when we played after COVID. I don't know, 21, I guess.
250-pound running back.
He was huge. Yeah, he was a big kid. But he was So I guess to answer your question, how much do you weigh?
215.
That's tough. I don't know how much bigger you can get though.
I could get probably to like. I said the most I can get up to is like 250.
It'd be easier to teach you to play O-line, I think, than for Taco to play. No offense.
I mean, running back's pretty easy to.
And it's like harder, but like running back is maybe to me. I would rather physically like what happens to you when you play the position. I would rather play O-line than running back.
Yeah, definitely.
Because O-line, at least I'm the one like I am initiating a lot of the.
Taco would do really good in pass pro though.
Taco would be really good in pat. Well, yeah.
I would hope so.
I think the hard part would be learning like a lot of the ball handling stuff, a lot of the like.
I think the
that
hard
sort of
part
thing.
would be just like getting to like his aiming points like the right times.
Because are you calling him slow?
No, not because he's like.
He's never seen me.
No, I've seen he's like faster than I think he is, but I think he'd have a hard time like.
I think
I couldn't see Taco like hitting like a gap and then jump cutting and then
I'll put it like this. If you're talking about like getting one of you ready to just have a role, I think I could get Taco ready to be like a goal line back like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But I think it would be easier to teach you to be like a full-time O-lineman. If
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Because being a full-time running back is like a lot.
Yeah, I don't think Taco can.
But
take
being
20
like,
years.
hey, we're gonna run a dive and you're gonna pass pro and you're gonna like block and stuff. Like Taco can do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 'Cause-
Right?
Yeah.
Don't get any ideas.
New player coach.
Yeah.
Taco dive.
Tanner's been trying to get Tanner dives going for a while.
Can you, if you had to give one of them the ball, who are you giving the ball to?
Out of the whole
Gavin.
line. Well, honestly, like this is gonna hurt a lot of feelings, but the best athlete on the O line is probably Ryan Castillo, the freshman. So probably him.
You want to give Gavin the ball?
Ryan's a really good athlete. He does like backflips and stuff.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's a like he's a really good athlete.
Okay.
So he's the one I'd probably trust. Like I bet you he probably could like I don't know run a route or something. Like he's a pretty good athlete.
Yeah.
Like we taught him he can do the zone side stuff on punt, for instance.
You think so?
He did it some, yeah.
Oh, he did?
Jimmy trained him up. He'd be somebody that could do. We were talking about that today. Yeah,
You guys punt team.
yeah. If he had to. So
I have a question too, Coach. I
Yeah.
thought of one. All right, so we get a lot of guys that like played football at like Division I schools, and then now they play at Cal Lutheran. How does that process work, and how does that like how do
the
we
transferring
how do we
process?
get those guys?
it's a lot of different ways. Is the short answer, and I guess the long answer would be most of it. Honestly, like most of the time when you're talking about transferring stuff, the initial start of it is usually like it's either someone you recruited out of high school and they decided to go somewhere else. You have like a relationship with their family or coach or someone in their life is the other way. Like a lot of times it's, hey, so-and-so is looking to transfer and this might be a good fit. How about you reach out to them and talk to them, right? Once they're in the transfer portal and all that. So it's very rarely and not just here, anywhere, that it's like, oh, I have no idea who this person is, and I'm like cold calling them, and I'm going to get them to transfer here. Like, that very rarely happens.
So
it's usually someone that you already had some kind of contact with, or someone in their life that you know in the past. Usually,
Yeah, okay. Because I always wonder that, because we'll get guys like JP came from, he was Ohio State, he was Jackson State, and then he's here.
Well, but that was through the initial contact was through Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor.
Adam.
Yeah, and then like there's always like weird like connective stories.
That's how it
Yeah.
works usually with the transfer stuff, because it's very rare. Is someone waiting to use the room?
No, someone's sitting there.
No, it's very rare that it. I can't say it never happens, but it's pretty rare that you're just gonna like call up and be like, "Hey, I'm Coach Sutherland from Cal Lutheran.
Does it work?
I noticed you're in the portal," and it doesn't work that way.
Does it work with high school kids, or is it more like high school kids reach out to you?
No, high school's a little different. You start the process. It depends. Everything's different. Like, again, just like the transfer stuff, the high school recruiting process is a lot more. There's a lot more diversity in the stories than it seems like. It's there's some that you reach out to. There's some that reach out to you. There's some that the coach is the first contact. There's some that it's, you went to, like, there's kids you end up recruiting that you went to a game to see another kid, and then you go, hey, this guy on the other team's pretty good. Who's that guy? Right? It's all those. There's a million different ways that it kind of turns up. And now, like, frankly, with Twitter or whatever the hell
Yeah, it's pretty easy
now. It's like a lot of it is a Twitter DM and a highlight video, and then you're like, oh, he's pretty good.
What's like do you have like a threshold, like determining like how does it work in your brain? You're like, we'll take this kid, we won't take this kid.
Well, the first easy cutoff is like grades.
Yeah.
There's quite a few kids that we just can't recruit because they don't have the right grades. They won't get into school or won't get a good financial aid package. So it's that's the first cut. That's like pretty easy. And then a lot of times it'll be based on like needs. So it's like different years you need different stuff, right? So some years you need more tackles than guards, so you try to recruit more tackles. And other years you might need 3 quarterbacks, or another year you might only need 1. So some of it is that. And so then you recruit accordingly, right? Like there might be an O-lineman that I would recruit and take if I was taking 6 O-linemen, but if I was only taking 2, he might not be a guy that you'd take. But then also you have your like recruiting board, so you rank kids and you kind of go like, there's these, basically the way we think about it is, and the way that we structure it in our recruiting is there's like tiers. And so you go like, these are tier 1 guys, which is like, I'd take them no matter what, right? These are tier 2 guys. These are tier 3 guys.
What tier was Taco Coach? You remember?
We weren't, swear to God, I'm not trying to get out of it. We weren't doing the tier thing. This is a Coach Blum thing, the tiers thing, which is good. It helps you focus your attention, right? Because you only have so many hours in the day. And so it helps you go like, these are the
tiers,
rankings, and this is where I would take. And so then you go, all right, I kind of want this many tier 1, this many tier, and it doesn't like, it's not always like it works out that way, but that's where you're trying to do.
All right. Do you have any more questions?
No.
Do you have any questions for us, Coach?
Do I have any questions for you? I have so many questions for you. No. No, I just appreciate you having me on and stuff. So thank you. It was fun.
It was great, Coach.
I don't know. Eli's been interviewing me all day.
Yeah, I've asked you a lot of questions today.
I did the journalism class visit.
It's been a fun day for us, Coach.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
It's been a lot.
I've been talking a lot.
We've been talking a lot, Coach.
I don't know.
We bonded.
We bonded today.
Yeah.
That's good.
We might have to switch me and Taco.
Actually, you know what? I did have a question, because this is so. I did this, and I did that like Coach's Corner thing that they play on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
I think soon. With you guys don't know Andrew Moore, but he was a former player here as well. He was like still going to school, and so you introed me as Coach Sutherland, and he did too. Do you know my first name?
Noah.
Good. I don't think
Do you-
you did,
do you-
and that's why I asked. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do think there's some guys who would be like, Coach, is your first name? So I was just curious. That was my question.
Yeah, we had a whole thing about you in class, like Noah Sutherland.
No, well, then you cheated. You
Yeah,
had to-
but I already knew that because you recruited me in like.
I know. I'm just messing
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Okay. That was good, I think.
Yeah.
I
think
don't
so.
know. You guys tell me.
Have you listened to any episodes before?
I listened to Thorns, I listened to Max's, and I listened to part of JP's, and I listened to part of Brent. Not the whole one. So
You didn't listen to Shimmy's?
I didn't listen to Shimmy's.
You should listen to that
I
one.
should listen to Shimmy's.
Yeah.
I just figured that's such a long time ago that like the format's probably changed.
Yeah.
Are they waiting to use the room?
Look, it's Coach Ryan.
Speaking of them,
Yeah. I think we gotta go.
Is it?
All
Yeah.
right.
Then we're gonna have a special guest walk in right now. Or no? Okay. Well, it's been good talking to you guys.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Coach.
you.
All right, this was Talking with Taco. Huge thank you to Coach Sutherland for being on the podcast. And thank you guys for listening.